proceed now in court is in.
Let the lynching, because this is a lynching. I mean, this is a modern day lynching.
When justice collided with chaos, courtrooms meant for order erupted into disorder. From Keison Wilkins faking a heart attack to Judge Michael Bachman misusing his power, these crazy trial moments exposed raw desperation and complete breakdowns of order. Let's begin.
We're going to take a break, ladies and gentlemen. If you'll please step out.
A packed courtroom, a judge on the bench, a defendant fighting for his freedom. And then, out of nowhere, he collapses to the floor, clutching his chest. Cameras capture everything. In April 2004, a man shared a chilling secret with a friend who had offered him $10,000 to kill Reginald Brooks. The very next day, Brooks and his friend Anita Stewart walked out of a work site, heading to their car. Suddenly, an attacker armed with an assault rifle unleashed a storm of bullets. Shots tore through a nearby house, putting innocent lives at risk. Brooks fought back, returning fire. And in that chaotic exchange, he recognized the gunman. It was Keison Wilkins. Shaken and frantic, Wilkins later showed up at a friend's place. Witnesses recalled him stripping off clothes and discarding a bulletproof vest, trying to cover his tracks. But investigators soon recovered spent shell casings, tying him back to the scene. When Wilkins was sent to Montgomery County, Ohio, he stood trial for the charges against him. At first, the case seemed routine. The judge made his opening remarks. The prosecution laid out their argument, and the defense, handled by Wilkins himself, followed with theirs. Some believe it was desperation, a last-ditch attempt to avoid facing justice. Others say it was pure theatrics, a way to shift the spotlight away from the facts of the case. In the end, the courtroom spectacle didn't help him. The judge said,
In 5 minutes, I'm going to start again, with or without you.
Keison Wilkins was convicted of felonious assault and other serious charges. The judge sentenced him to 42 years in prison. What could have been a trial remembered only in legal records instead became an internet sensation. But beneath the drama was a sobering truth. A man's attempt to manipulate the system failed, and justice was served. A staged collapse, a desperate act, but justice still prevailed. But our next case isn't about faking pain. It's about unleashing deadly conflict in a small-town bar.
No, Your Honor. Nothing, thank you.
A 24-year-old man with the words "nothing to lose" tattooed across his neck. A small-town bar dispute. And by the end of the night, 2 innocent lives were gone. That man was Andrew Worth. On December 6, 2009, he was accused of killing 2 people, including off-duty police officer Jennifer Lewick and her boyfriend, Greg Peters. What started as a simple night out quickly spiraled into a deadly confrontation that shocked the entire Jefferson County community. According to witnesses, it began inside Vinny's Rock Bottom bar. Worth claimed Jennifer playfully slapped him, sparking an argument that spilled outside. There, in a heated rage, he pulled out a gun and shot both Jennifer and Greg. Moments later, Worth fled in his Chrysler sedan. Police wasted no time. Officers tracked him down, pulled him over, and discovered a pistol in his car. The ammunition matched the bullets found at the scene, leaving little doubt he was the shooter. When Andrew Worth appeared in court to face charges, his temper exploded once again. He shouted profanities, tried to lunge toward the gallery, and wrestled with deputies in front of the victim's grieving family. 5 officers had to pin him down, and even a taser was used inside the courtroom to bring him under control. The chaos left the courtroom shaken. Worth told investigators he shot Greg because he feared being attacked. He claimed he didn't think Greg had been hit enough to die. As for Jennifer, he said he didn't mean to shoot her. Prosecutors painted a different picture, saying Worth had little stability, no job, and had recently moved to Wisconsin to join a motorcycle gang. They described him as reckless and dangerous, willing to take lives over something as petty as a barroom disagreement. Worth was charged with 2 counts of murder, and his bail was set at $1 million. For now, he remains in an isolation cell while awaiting trial. For Jennifer's fellow officers, the tragedy cut especially deep. She was a respected colleague. It was a reminder that one reckless choice can destroy families, friendships, and entire communities in a single night. 2 innocent lives were stolen in a flash of rage, and an outburst shook a courtroom. But in our next case, the chaos comes not from the bench, but from a son who turned on his own mother in open court.
Deputy who's just entered the courtroom. A second deputy arrives just as Jackson's mother.
A courtroom, a mother watching her son, and in a split second, chaos erupts. What happened next left the entire room in shock. In Lynn County, Oregon, 30-year-old Christopher Allen Jackson was brought into a courtroom to face charges of burglary and resisting arrest. But what should have been a routine hearing quickly spiraled out of control. As soon as he took his seat, he began acting out, flashing his middle fingers towards the courtroom. Jackson suddenly lashed out, attacking multiple people, including his mother, Julia Stickney. She later recalled, "It was like he just lost it. I mean, I tried to calm him down, but I don't think he even knew it was me." Court officers immediately rushed in. Several were injured as they tried to restrain him, turning what was supposed to be a legal proceeding into a dangerous and chaotic scene. Jackson was eventually subdued and taken into custody. For everyone in the courtroom, it was a terrifying moment. A place meant for justice and order became a scene of conflict and fear. Why did Jackson snap? No one knows for sure. His mother believed he wasn't even aware of his actions at that moment. But the jury had to decide based on the evidence, and the evidence showed an outburst that endangered lives. Christopher Allen Jackson was found guilty of second-degree assault, attempted second-degree assault, and 2 counts of assaulting a public safety officer. Since second-degree assault is a Measure 11 offense, he was sentenced to nearly 6 years in prison. For his mother, Julia, the heartbreak came not only from the chaos that day, but from watching her son lose control so completely. Christopher turned a courtroom into a battleground. However, our next case illustrates how a desire for a pair of sneakers led to a cold-blooded act. A high school senior, a pair of Yeezys, a setup that turned into murder. By the end of the night, 18-year-old Andrea Camps-Lacayo was gone forever. On April 7th, 2020, Andrea Camps-Lacayo and her boyfriend arranged to sell Yeezys worth $935. Instead, Adrian Cosby ambushed them, shooting both. Andrea died instantly, while Sergio Bourbon survived his injuries. Bourbon testified that Cosby shot and killed my girlfriend and tried to kill me. Jurors also heard how Andrea drifted in and out of consciousness before closing her eyes for the last time. Cosby was convicted of felony murder, attempted murder, and attempted robbery. His partner, George Walton, had already been convicted of first-degree murder despite not pulling the trigger. When Andrea's father called him,
"There's no forgiveness on this earth for animals like you."
Cosby snapped, cursing, leaping from his chair, and lunging at the grieving family before deputies restrained him.
Count 1, first-degree felony murder. I sentence Mr. Cosby to a mandatory life sentence.
Adrian Cosby, 23, is now facing life in prison, while Andrea's family is left to grieve a daughter stolen for nothing more than sneakers. A family grieving, and a sentence that ensures he'll never walk free again. The next case takes fear to the next level. The person abusing power isn't the defendant, it's the judge himself.
Don't try to talk over me. It's the most ridiculous thing in the world.
A woman walked into the Hamilton County Courthouse hoping for protection. Instead, she walked out in handcuffs, and the man responsible was not a stranger on the street. It was a magistrate inside the court. On September 4th, 2018, the woman arrived early that morning to file for a protection order. She missed the strict 8:10 a.m. deadline by just a few minutes. Frustrated and defeated, she spoke briefly to a clerk, then turned to leave. That's when she let out one scream of frustration in the hallway. What happened next shocked everyone. Magistrate Michael Bachman, sitting inside his courtroom, stopped a hearing when he heard the scream. Instead of showing patience, he stormed out, chased the woman down the hallway, and ordered her into the courtroom. Security footage confirmed everything. In front of everyone, Bachman placed her in the jury box and sentenced her to 3 days in jail for contempt. When the woman broke down crying and asked why she was being punished for seeking help, he doubled the punishment to 10 days. Deputies handcuffed her, threatened her with a taser, and dragged her away as she cried. Why would a judge act this way? The Ohio Supreme Court later said Bachman showed a complete lack of patience, dignity, and courtesy. It was not about justice. It was about ego and control. The woman was released after serving 2 days when Judge Kim Burke intervened, but the damage was already done. Days later, Bachman resigned as a magistrate. Years later, in 2023, the Ohio Supreme Court suspended his law license for 6 months, stating he showed no remorse. The incident left many outraged. A woman who came to court for help instead found herself jailed for a single scream. The ruling sent a clear message. Sending someone to jail is not a timeout, and the courtroom is no place for the mistreatment of power. The actions inside these courtrooms left scars that will never fade, and the shocking outburst revealed the unimaginable lengths people will go to when faced with justice.